Hi, hello. How are you today? Welcome and thank you for joining us. I've been looking forward to this day, and well, it's here and we are ready to begin, right? So, my name is Agnes Ngala, and I'm an art teacher. I've been teaching art for about 17 years now, formally, and art is my life, and I enjoy creating small but meaningful pieces. And sometimes, which has been several times in the past, I create masterpieces. But one of the things that gives me so much joy is seeing young people, children, just trying to develop their own creativity and coming up with something that would have been simple and hard, but now they're able to do both the hard and the simple. Isn't that amazing? Right? So, well, let's get into today's topic. Right? Oh, I forgot something. Happy Mother's Day weekend, people. I know some of you have received some cards and some drawings from your children. I'm yet to receive mine, but I know it's in the works, right? So these are ways children are expressing themselves. So why art? What's the use of creating art? Why even study art? I need to tell you, I studied art and I'm glad I did. Growing up, those I grew up with, very few of them became artists. But I want to thank my parents who really believed in me. I started creating and scribbling a long time ago. I know I got into trouble for scribbling in my parents' books. I remember one particular one, I must have been very young. I scribbled into a notebook I shouldn't have. I don't know if my parents remember that. But from then on, I kept wanting to create. And you know who encouraged me? Even before my parents pushed me, I had a friend. And this friend used to draw, and I thought, what? I also want to create like this. So guess what? I thought, why not? So I can create. Hey, I got to creating. And here I am today. My parents encouraged me to go study art. In high school, I did art. In college, I did art. And now I'm teaching art. If you wake me up in the middle of the night, I will be creating art, probably in my dreams. But, well, here we are. So why are we doing art? A lot of us think, well, there is no career that might come out of it, or it takes too much time and I'm not ready. Sometimes it's just fear. But let me tell you something. Today I'm going to address the issue of art for children. Maybe in our next live session, we will talk about art for grown-ups. But today, let's focus on the children. So why create art? Why encourage your child to do art? I will tell you something. If there are beings, live beings, in this case human beings, who have zero fear of making mistakes with regard to art, they are children. Give a child a plain paper, give them paint, or even just a pen. As long as they're able to hold it, oh my goodness, they will create artwork, if you look at it with an open mind, that are beautiful. And children are not afraid to create. And this is what I like to call expression. Children are not afraid to express their work. They will make a red sky and a pink ocean and a yellow moon. They will create whatever their heart feels. And you know what that is? That's creativity. That's what is in their mind at this point. And that's what art does, because it allows anybody who is willing to let themselves go and explore. That's what art allows you to do, because you know there are not really rules that you can't have a pink sky. If my mind is giving me a pink sky, why not draw a pink sky? Sometimes, like right now, the sky is grayish, but I don't feel like the gray sky, so I might probably make that sky purple. But that's all in my mind. What is in your child's mind is amazing too. I'm sure you've asked a child to draw a family picture, and then you noticed one of you has a huge head, a very big head, right? Or somebody has very big eyes and small lips. You know, it's never the realistic thing you expect. But in the child's heart, they have expressed the most important person in their life. They have expressed what is so cool to them, and that's the big-headed person. Or probably they're just expressing how much they love their families. And in their head, because you're tall, and bigger, they are short and smaller. Your head is very big for your head is really big to them. And that's why your head is big. That's an example. If you are if your head is not too big, please don't take offense. All right? But this is a child's world. And one of the things that I find amazing is art promotes creativity. Art promotes a child's creativity. Whether you give them paints, you give them pencils, plain paper. I know some of you have given your children coloring books and you've given them crayons. Is there one single day the child look at your work and like, I don't want? Because that will happen after a lot of negative reaction. But before you start hating their work, they love it. And I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. So this artwork which promotes your child's creativity, isn't that what you want for your growing up little ones? And guess what? It's not about the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old or the 15-year-old. The world is appreciating critical and creative thinking. And so as their creativity is developing, this subject area of art might be their future goal or not. Did you know that? Maybe your artist child right now who's making nice, cute ones that you're putting in the fridge and all might not end up being an artist. And that is fine, because there are other areas of creativity and problem solving which this child will apply because they learned to express themselves and look at the world from a different angle. Isn't that amazing? And isn't that what we want for our children? Because this generation would do with a lot more creativity that's not copied, but that's inborn, that is intrinsic for themselves, right? So let's promote our children's creativity. But in the process, do you know that art also develops fine motor skills? So when your youngest one, I know some of you have the young ones who are learning their writing skills and they're able to hold their pencil, but they're not able to sustain a pattern. What is art doing? When they're coloring, let me tell you for truth, that they will hold a pencil like that for the first time. But then after a while, we'll see the pencil going that way. What are we doing? Look at the motor skills we're working on. We are developing that. And over time, it's not just the handwriting. This child might be using this for other things. You are engineer, you are motorcycle race person, or cars. Can you see all these skills that will eventually develop? But they begin somewhere. And that's why early childhood education institutions encourage the children to color. All right? So please, come on, get it all out. Let your children create, because we are also developing their motor skills. But here's another one. You've given a child paper and then you told them, draw something. I can assure you, the next question you're going to get is, what can I draw? Because they don't know what they want, or they don't know what you want them to draw. That's a problem right there. After a while, they're going to create and you've just solved a problem. You can give them a hint, or you can tell them, look around. Or remember do you remember when we went for that drive? Or do you remember when we were at Ushago or at the countryside? Do you remember? What are you doing? You're enabling them to remember, and they're going to draw or create from recall. But here's another one. When you want to find out a problem that's happening in the life of your child, I know this for sure because I have seen children who are abused or bullied in school, and I was able to pick it out from their artwork, because that's their expression avenue. A lot of times, it's not even the color they will use. Maybe the strength of the line they'll work with, or the intensity of one particular character and all the details that were put in this character. This brings out something that you get to know more about your child or about the children you're working with. Probably it's not your own, but one that you've noticed, how is it that your work has a lot of this color? What are you trying to tell us? What are you trying to see? And this brings me to this point. Let your child express. Let your child tell you what their artwork was about. Sometimes it's their dreams. Sometimes it's their imagination. In this Corona season, I've had children showing me such amazing but emotional pieces which express just how helpless they feel because as children we are keeping them indoors to keep them safe. But they want to go out there. Their world is out there to explore without any inhibitions. So this expression of where they are at mentally, physically, psychologically, it comes out very deeply. For you parents, I will encourage you to be very keen on what your child has drawn. And sometimes it doesn't mean anything. It's just them having a really nice good day and I want to draw a giant flower. Or I think I want to draw a butterfly or a fairy. Depending on where your child's life is at. I want to draw birds. I want to draw whatever it is they want to draw. Sometimes it's even abstract. They just... But depending on where your child is at, creation helps them to bring out what is inside of them. So more than ever, last year and this year has been a time when if you're keen on what your child is creating, drawing, even writing, you will be super surprised. You will be so surprised at what your child is trying to tell you. You'll be surprised at the quality of communication that can come forth from their own kind of artwork, their own creation. So please, let the children develop their problem-solving skills from their creativity. Sometimes it might seem like scribbles to you. Guess what? We all started scribbling and it was not beautiful at the beginning. But did you know that some of the most amazing artworks out there are children's artwork? They are original. I know I've said that. They are original, they are amazing, and why not? Because there is something to show these children. So please parents, go out there and let your children have what they need to create. Let's raise a generation that can express all these feelings that are inside of them in a beautiful way. And in the process, those who need help can get help. Those who need to be celebrated can be celebrated. Hey, all children must be celebrated because they have something to contribute to the world, right? Right? Yeah. And then one last thing is, and this I've learned over the years, that phenomena of the world and its abstractness is so huge for the children to understand and to break down. There's so much abstractness around their world. The way our learning systems, depending on which education system your child subscribes to, there's still a lot of abstractness in the world. Be it science, be it the geography, be it... And all these things are meant to help your child understand the world around. Believe me, there is a lot of abstractness around children. And so for them to break down what they are learning, you will notice that sometimes they are learning, but there's some bit of scribbling around or some drawing. Art helps them to break that down. It might be in a very small way or in a very big way. For some of you who are teachers, for some of you who have seen children trying to draw comic things in the middle of a math book, they're trying to understand what exactly you mean by Sokatoa. So, art helps your child to really break down some of these abstract concepts which they can't really express in words. We are looking at such huge theories, and yet these theories help your child to... You want them to learn, but they're still feeling so... There's still many questions that I want to understand. I'll give you an example with my own son. He wanted to really know why we are on Earth and why he can't go to the stars. And that led him to want to know more about what's happening around his physical world. I was surprised when he was able to create this using Play-Doh. And he developed 3D concepts of things that didn't make sense to him. And he was able to explain to me in a deeper sense what he was seeing around him. This led him to do his own research. Believe me, children can research. When they have access to internet, they will research. And so he's found out about the Earth and the other planets around him, and why our planet is still round and does not have other things around it like Jupiter. And guess what? With this, he still came back and drew the 3D concept of it using Play-Doh. He's not much of a drawing person, but he likes to create with his hands. So you see, this shows you difference of expression to the children. So even as they're breaking down concepts, It is important that we open the avenue for the children to just explore their world a little more. Some people believe children are born without the minds of their own, or knowledge has to be given to the children. I'm here to tell you that I believe children gather their own knowledge in the beginning, and then as you start to bring in your knowledge or the way you want to guide your child's learning, some of that initial knowledge that they gathered because of the environment they grew up in will be, some might get lost, but some will influence the path they take in life. And so I'm here advocating for art. I'm advocating for your children to be given the opportunity to explore what else is there that I've not learned in school. All these things that I know my child has learned, 95% of it, and I'm sure about it, he has not yet learned it in school. And that's because of the open expression that, as a parent, I am trying to allow him to, so that he will not have any fears or inhibitions towards what he's curious about. These kids are cute, they're very curious. So I want to give my children and the children of this generation an opportunity to really explore and reflect upon what they have learned or what they are seeing. Now we have this corona pandemic. What will happen to us as children? I've got that question quite a lot, not from my own children, but from other children as well. My life revolves around children and teaching them. And a lot of them have drawn their responses. But what is your child thinking? What is that one thing that they want to know? You'll be surprised when you give them the avenue to grow. Art is a skill that is already inborn. But when you enable it, you allow the child to get to start to grow and develop and explore and express. It's endless. It really is endless. And it's amazing because nothing stops children. We do stop them, but nothing else stops them. You as a parent has the capacity. You have the capacity to grow your child, equip your child, show them the way, and help their friends also see this way and explore. It's beautiful with color. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it? And I've studied artists who started as children, yet their parents stopped them. And then they picked it up again when they're grown up. So you see, it's right deep in there. So parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, let's encourage this creativity. You know the world needs it. You know we all need it. And now I know you're asking, so what do I do? Some of our children are already inclined towards that. You see them scribbling. What should I do? Provide material. Plain paper. Old books that they're not using anymore. Get crayons. Get colors. Let them explore with that. But you can also go to art stores, art bookshops. There are many, depending on where you are around the world. Get this material for the children. Get somebody to guide your child. Sometimes they know the what, but they don't know the how. So the guide is the how. How do I do this? How do I create? And then once they get the how, hello, the world is open to them. Let them go ahead and create. Fill your house with the creation. Because what happens is that as a child, I've taken my time. It's so nice. I've done such a good job. And then I bring you my beautiful stick man. And, Mom, hey, look what I created. And then, was that it? Oh, come on, people. You can't do that. We celebrate every single creation, no matter how big or how small. We are going to celebrate every single creation. And how do we celebrate it? This is an interesting work you've done. Tell me more about it. What will you be doing by saying that? You're going to be enabling the child to express the thoughts that were around their creation. That's all part of creativity. You'll be developing their public speaking skills, right? They're expressing. So I drew this person because, or I drew this car with wings because. These children have the most inventions that you and I will need in the future. Did you know that? All right? So when artwork is created, let us celebrate it. Let your child, before you quickly say, good work, Just hold that thought for a second and let them tell you what was behind that work. And hear them out. And after they've told you, let them write their name because they own it. That's a masterpiece. And then once they've written their name, put it up. It can be in their room, it can be on the fridge, on a wall. If you are too careful and you don't want to mess up your whole wall, that's fine. Create a separate corridor where their work is put and you know that people will see. Celebrate each and every work that your child creates, because this promotes originality. There's a lot of copying. There's a lot of plagiarism, where you pick somebody else's work and call it your own. And where do you think it begins? When your originality is not celebrated, I might as well take the other person's work that was celebrated and I remix it and call it my own. It's our own downfall. We created that. So celebrate every single work by your children. Please do celebrate it because it is important. Very, very much so. Alright? If you have questions for us, so okay, I have created. What if their work doesn't look nice? Do I still lie to my child? I'll ask you this. When they were starting to walk, when they fell, did you give up? And we can agree that they did not fall once. Did they fall down once or twice? We will agree that they fell over and over and over again. And eventually they learned that, falling we will do. However, I will rise up again and I will do it again and I will do it again. And the next time they were walking on their own, I know you parents celebrated, took videos, took selfies, told the entire world my child walked. Right? Do the same with your children's creation. Do the same. If it is a scrawny scribble thing, celebrate that. And they will create another scribble. Celebrate that. So that we don't have more work scrambled up and thrown in the bin. That one that was thrown in the bin, bring it out. Iron it out and have yourself paper batik. Post it up somewhere and celebrate that too. You will enable these young people to speak about the stuff that is deep in their hearts. Deep in their hearts. And they will have such amazing pieces. Because since Mona Lisa, the work by Da Vinci, and some of the artists I celebrate today, who have changed the face of art from just normal realism to what they feel. These people, some of them were celebrated, and that's how come they became great. And after you keep celebrating your child, with the time they'll notice it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, it's still going to be celebrated, so why not? So get your child paper. Start with paper. If you can't get them canvas, let them paint, let them splatter. If you have space, you have open air, by all means, let them make the mess. Because as artists, we find beauty in the mess. It is so insane, but we find beauty in the mess. And that grows us and makes you a better person. It's amazing what happens in this mess. Out of these messes comes out some very, very interesting things. So parents, don't be afraid to let your child explore. I will say this again. Your child does not have to become an artist in the end. They might get the A's if they study the art and all, but they don't have to become an artist. Because if that's the goal, then the pressure starts to pile on. While you are enabling your child to do all this, the scientific facts about their neurological development is amazing. Just like children who study music. You and I who have studied music, you will know that there's a lot to it that you've done to your child's development. Their mind is able to wrap themselves around things that would otherwise be too complex to grasp. So, I might be encouraging your child for art. The end goal, it is not a must for the child to be an artist in the end. If they become an artist, yay! If they don't, yay! Why? Because you just enabled their mind to break down abstract concepts, things that were more interesting to them, probably the sciences or the ITs or whatever it is. It just enabled them to break it down, to understand it in a deeper way, to express it in a way that helped them to now figure out exactly what they needed to learn. So art in this age, and I'm talking about art for children up to the age of 15 or 16, thereabout. This is helping them to break down and explore and express. And the conversations that I've had with young people, the teenagers, the young adults around the art that they've created, most of it was to express themselves. And then those who go on to now become artists, they have already cut out a life for themselves. And hey people, art is wide. Mine is just a small side. Let's encourage our children. Let's grow our children. Let's grow this generation to be original, so that as we celebrate other people's work, theirs too will count. That 2020 or 2021, our children will start developing in a way that was not just centered in pen and paper and writing, but there was more, because this is part of what life is, and it will make it so much beautiful. There's been too much gray, people. Let this particular generation count in their creativity, in what they do, and you guys will be happy to celebrate with us each time an artwork is done. I celebrate, and then we are going to have an online gallery so that you'll see other children's work. So let's celebrate them. All right? Bring in the questions. Let's have this conversation going. And we'll see you next week. And when we meet next time, we are going to continue talking about where this art has taken us so far. What are your responses? What are your experiences? What are you finding hard? What is frustrating you? Those are questions that are important and that we can discuss and grow further. How can we help these guys? How can we help them? Because believe me, they are the next big thing. Do you trust me on that? It's been amazing having you guys today. I hope this has helped you. That was my little sense that I believe in what I'm saying, because I've seen it, and the world is a better place with a lot of color. Don't you agree? So I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.